What's up, peeps? Nick Battle, aka Nino's Corner. Got my boy Ty, man, the SEC Connect. We are here just 2 out of the 5, man. Steven is in the DR right now, anniversary time with the wifey. He had a special, like get on session where he was on the Bleacher Report after Texas beat Oklahoma, but we'll get into that in a minute. Jay and Chris are hiding because you know what happened this past weekend. They got that BTA, that belt to ass action. But yeah, man, we gotta Ty, what's going on, man?
That game, man, it was so interesting. I was actually in Broken Bow with the wife and her family, so I didn't get to see the first portion of y'all's game because I was on Bleacher Report following the Alabama game.
Yeah.
But I came in and I think it was like 7-3, and then the floodgates opened.
The fumbles, yeah.
And I want to hear from you on this because it was a point where it felt like in the third quarter, it's not that Sark was being passive, but it felt to me like Sark was very much, well, like, okay, let's establish this run game. Let's really grind them down. And then in the fourth quarter, you're calling trick
He
plays. And I
went
was like,
for it.
oh,
Yeah.
Sark, what is happening right now? Really interesting to talk about. Y'all know how I feel about Sark, right? There are two play callers that I put all above everybody else in college football. You Texas fans have one, and I'm very blessed that us Alabama fans have the other in terms of offensive minds that I just think are in a
Geniuses.
league. Yeah, just in a league of their own. Lincoln's up there in terms of offense. Lane is up there.
Lane's up there. If we can get consistent, but we'll talk about that later too.
Yeah.
Lane. Yeah, man. But to talk about the third quarter, like I think Sarker's trying to get that run game established. Jaden Blue had the fumbles last week, right? And so I think Sark was just trying to get somebody established, see who's going to have the hot hand. He gave it to Trey Wisner, man, and Wisner did his thing, 13 carries for about 108
Incredible
yards.
talent.
Yeah, so I think that was more of Sark saying, "Hey, man, let me see who's going to be my guy."
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think Sark found out that Trey Wisner is his guy. And if he has Trey, being the guy who's going to come out there, get the first snaps, going to run tough, then he can move Jaden Blue back to his normal position like he had with CJ Baxter, being that guy that comes in on third downs, being that guy that's going to come in. He can run the ball, but he can also catch from the backfield as well. He can utilize his speed because he runs fast as hell. He's like a 4.3, guy, right? So that's when you can kind of balance everything out right there. But Trey came in and played. He's 6 foot 200 pounds, but he plays like he's 6 foot 220. You know what I'm saying? Like he gets big when it's time to get big. He doesn't take big hits. He gets skinny when it's time to get skinny. And I think Sark
Good
in that
move.
third quarter, man, he just kind of figured out that this is gonna be my guy, man. So fourth quarter, he went for it.
I got a question for you though.
Yeah.
Now, if you disagree, by all means, please let me know.
Yeah.
Because I know that the implication when I ask this question is going to be there's no other way but for the implication to be this, because this is it is the question, and I don't mean it in a disrespectful manner. Do you think Sark was play calling for Georgia? What I mean when I ask that, do you think in that third quarter Sark was like, let me get these running backs some real great reps in a hostile environment, because let's be honest, that's one of the best environments for sports.
To me, it's the
Not just
best. I
football.
love it. This is the best, man.
It's one of the best for
Yeah.
sports. I don't
Yep.
care if you're talking soccer, NFL, baseball, NBA. It's a bucket list game. Do you think that was play calling for Georgia to be like, okay, let's give these running backs these opportunities? And I don't mean that as in a sense of where Sark was being disrespectful to OU. But I also was sitting there, and as I was watching it, when he turned it back on in the fourth quarter, I was like, okay, I think that he's really trying to get these guys some real quality reps for Georgia.
Yeah. Hey, man, I can see that. But first off, Derek Wisner, that is Trey Wisner's uncle. He's a family member of the show, man. He's on my channel all the time. He's on Stevens. He's on the SC Connect all the time. Derek Wisner, man, he always tunes in. Yeah, man, I think that, Ty, to be honest with you, that's a really good point. I think that could have been one of the options there was, hey, man, let me see what Trey does. Trey's going to get busy. You know what I'm saying? Everybody who's watched Trey play in high school, he's one of those guys that you look at and like, how did he lose his starting job? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't see how it happened, right?
I
And
didn't know
so
that happened, but that someone needs to be evaluated for that.
yeah, but they got a monster down there right now too, right? But like Trey is just he reminds me a lot of Roshan Johnson in the fact that he just
Mm.
does what's good for the team. You know what I'm
He's so
saying? So
complete too. That's the thing.
he's
As I
so
was
complete.
watching, I was like, "Damn, he runs with power. He will juke you." I'm sorry,
Yes.
Billy. Billy is still looking for him.
And man,
Just put
he put
a
the paws on
back.
Billy, didn't he? He put the feet
What
on
a
Billy, didn't
back.
he? Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
Derek. Someone needs to be evaluated because what I saw for a young back, the complete nature of his game. I mean, that's the type of running back that all coaching staffs around the nation, his game style, where you just know, hey, you're an every down back. Those guys are so in demand in college football. I had a lot of fun watching him play. So,
Yeah, man.
congratulations, and I hope you enjoyed the game.
Yeah, but yeah, I think Sark was doing that to also put it on film too, to let Kirby know, hey man, it just ain't my passing game. I got this monster back here too. So when he's in the
Yeah.
game, you
That's
better
why
take
I
note.
asked that question, though,
You know what I'm
right?
saying? You better take note. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited about the game this weekend, man. I'm excited, Ty. I'm
I mean, I
excited,
said
man.
it on my show last night, so I'm not going to hold back. I have Texas winning by 7 to 10 points against Georgia.
Yeah,
And we were talking about this in the green room. I think matchup wise, Georgia has some offensive linemen hurt. Tate Ratledge, he was hurt for Alabama. I had the same conversation whenever Alabama played Georgia, and I thought that was going to give Alabama opportunities to get after them. Tate Ratledge or Rutledge, and if I apologize, I always mix up his, but very talented young man. He's not there. But Nino, what type of offenses give Kirby trouble? There's a reason why Nick Saban is not at Alabama, and I picked Alabama to beat Georgia. It's because DeBoer is going to test you deep.
yeah,
DeBoer is going to get creative on you. Those are the type of offenses that have given Nick Saban problems and have
yeah.
given Kirby problems.
Giving Sark problems. They giving everybody problems.
Well, not only that, but Kirby's defense is Saban's defense.
It's true.
Now,
True.
he's done a great job of, I don't want to say simplify because that's not the right word, but for lack of a better word, simplify. Travaris Robinson talked about this when he got to Georgia, stating that Kirby has done a great job taking what Saban does and making it to where it's a bit quicker to process.
Yeah.
And that's awesome that he's been able to do that. But damn it, Sark attacked Saban's defense beautifully last year. I mean, absolutely beautifully. I expect somewhat of the same against Georgia. I really do. And I told Nino this for anybody who heard me say that, because I understand Texas has a banged up running back room. Even if both teams were fully healthy, I still take Texas by 7 to 10.
Yeah, man. Me, I was just going back charting some stats and I'm looking at the first 3 games of the season. Georgia was tops in the SEC with the least amount of explosive plays. They didn't really play anybody, right? You know what I'm saying? Well, I didn't say play anybody. They played Clemson first, but Clemson's Clemson, right?
Great defense, terrible offense to start the season. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it was like I think Bama led it with only 3 passes of 15 yards or more against them in the first 3 or 4 games. Georgia was second with 4. Flip side of that, these last 3 games, Bama, Auburn, and who was it? So
Miss State.
Bama, Auburn, and State, right? 6, 10, and 6, or 10, no, 10, 6, and 6. So 22 passes, 15 yards or more. With honestly, out of those 22, I think 20 were 20 yards or more against this Georgia secondary just in 3 games. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to give it up deep. They're going to give it up deep. Bama showed us that they will give it up deep. Mississippi State did. I think Mississippi State had like a 60-yard pass, a 40-yard pass. I mean, like they showed you that if you want to go deep against the secondary, you can. You know what I'm saying? So I think Texas is going to exploit that. One thing that does get to me with this is Bond had like a little, injury. And so Sark said they had a good day in practice today, but still, man, those injuries, they kind of linger around. But Texas is so deep at wide receiver. Bond leaves and then, Wingo comes in, right? And then there's
Well, I
no
think
drop off.
Wingo is y'all's best wide receiver.
I think he is too. But it's just freshmen in big time moments and big time games, It's just hard to see that sometimes. As great as Ryan Williams is, right? Prior to him having the game winning catch, he did have the fumble. Right. I mean, freshmen make freshman moments in big time games, right? It just is what it is. But Ryan Williams did actually, come back and do his thing. So same thing with a Wingo. Wingo kind of runs with that ball kind of wide, and that scares me. A team like Georgia will, like they will be there to kind of punch that ball out. But I think he is our best guy too, man. But Texas is they got wide receivers in spades, man. Wingo,
Yeah.
Golden, Bolden came on this game too. You got
Cook.
yeah, Cook. I mean, he only had 3 snaps this game. I mean, he's like hidden right now. DeAndre Moore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just they're so deep at wide receiver right now that you can lose a Bond and still be, good, which is weird to say.
Yeah.
But,
And H posts. One thing I will say, because you're right, I think Michael Van Buren is the best quarterback that y'all have faced. He's getting better week by week.
week by week. Yeah.
And because of that, listen, I understand Georgia gave up too many points against him. I still don't think this is a bad Georgia team. I think this is a damn good Georgia team. I think that they have played some teams that have, when we look at Auburn, my biggest question for Auburn is the coach. But that wide receiver room at Auburn is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I bring that to you because I am still of the mindset, H Post, that this is a very, very good Georgia defense, a very good Georgia defense. And even with me thinking, I'm probably higher on Georgia than most people here, and that's perfectly okay. Even with me being higher on Georgia than most people here, Texas by 7 to 10. And I think Michael Van Buren's getting better week to week.
He is.
But I just think that this is a Texas win 7 to 10.
Yeah, man. So look, I think the same thing, man. So I think you guys are getting a little hint of, Ty and me, our picks here for the, for the Friday show when it comes to Texas versus Georgia. But I got Texas winning this game too, man. It's going to be very interesting. Texas kind of manhandled OU. When it comes to Georgia, it's going to be a physical game. Georgia's offensive line is good. They're very good at pass blocking. I thought they're going to be better just at run blocking this year, but their running game's just kind of been non-existent. That's really shocked me about Georgia. But Carson Beck is going to pass the ball. He is going to get yards, people.
He's been playing very well, aside from the turnovers.
Yeah.
Aside from the turnovers, which I think y'all are going to take Womack's kind of game plan, which we haven't really done again, which kills me, but showing one thing at the line of scrimmage and then like Womack against Georgia in the first half, and I clocked it. We didn't do it at the same rate in the second half. Womack in the first quarter and second quarter, he would show cover 0, cover 1, you had no idea what was happening, and Carson was in hell. I think that y'all are going to do that, and the luxury y'all have over Alabama's defense, because Alabama's defense is still very much finding their footing in a new system, right?
And they're young.
They're very young.
New system.
Very, very young.
New coach.
New system, new coaches. Your secondary is not as young. And I think that's going to benefit y'all a lot. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want anybody sitting here thinking like I'm very high on Georgia. I do believe they are one of the best teams in the nation. I know how it's looked. I still think that they're so well coached, so damn talented. And even with that thought, that I think if we had the whole gang here, I would be the highest on Georgia out of everybody. I still think y'all get the W by 7 to 10 points, giving y'all one of the 3 best wins in all of college football. Oregon, Texas, Bama, and whatever order you deem necessary. I'm not going to argue that. Those would be the 3 best wins in all of college football. Oregon over Ohio State, Texas over Georgia, Bama over Georgia, because I do believe Georgia is Georgia. Maybe I do agree with Steven, though. Not like 21-22 Georgia, but still.
No, but it's still Georgia.
Still Georgia.
People got to understand too, man. We've been talking about NIL here for the last 2 or 3 years, right? Look, man, NIL has leveled the playing field. And I don't think people realize how much it has leveled the playing field. Where a team like Vanderbilt gets a Pavia. Pavia doesn't go to Vanderbilt 4 years ago. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Pavia goes to Auburn, right? And he plays for Hugh Freeze, and he runs the hell out of that system, and he does a damn good job at it, right? Like Hugh Freeze doesn't have Peyton Thorne, he has Pavia, right? It's a whole different team with a no kidding really good guy at the signal caller, right? But NIL is kind of level the playing field where you're not seeing nobody run away from anybody now. It used to be Bama, Georgia, Clemson, or nobody, right? I mean, it just was what it was, right? It is
It
now kind
also
of
helps that y'all have more money than God. Like the NIL has certainly done that, but then when you can throw around 10 times more than everybody else,
but it's also spending it wisely too.
well, yeah, and
Because
I don't say that to discount your
yeah,
coaching staff. Everybody, if you got that, then you haven't heard me talk about this
yeah,
Texas coaching staff because I
hmm
think it's one of the best coaching staffs in the nation. I think Sark has done an unbelievable job developing the talent, recruiting, and even pre NIL when Sark was recruiting at Alabama, we knew that's a dog on the trail.
yeah,
It's a beautiful combination, and like I said, you remember when everybody was mad at Oregon for like saying, "Oh, they're just blank checks," is what everybody was saying.
yeah.
I was of the mindset that if Phil Knight is a Bama alum, you bet your sweet
You
bippy
bet,
I'm
you bet,
letting him
hell
doing it.
yeah.
So do it
That's
by
why.
all
Look here,
means.
dude. I like Maryland should be a sleeping giant. Well, not sleep. They should be a giant
I
with all the
agree.
Under Armour money,
I agree.
and all that talent there in the belt. I mean, they should be a giant. But it's not a football school per se. So they don't get it. But it is what it is, man. But look, we've been talking about Bama, well, not Bama, like Texas, Georgia, Texas, OU for a while. Chris is coming on in a minute. He just sent us a text, so he'll be on in a minute. So we'll get back to to Chris here in a minute. But let's talk about Bama, man. And Ty, I'm gonna let you kind of lead this off, man. Should Bama be worried right now?
No, no. One, I think South Carolina, they have maybe one of the best edge duos in the nation. I don't know.
True.
I'm sure you could give me one or two that compete with it.
Mhm.
I mean, Texas with Colin Simmons, unbelievable football player.
Yeah, Dylan Stewart.
Unbelievable football player.
Yeah.
But it's like they have Dylan Stewart and the other cat, number 5. And they played a great game defensively. I actually think this is one of those games where, for those of you that watched it, it's one of those where when I watched it live, I was livid. And I still am livid about some things in the game, right? Like the onside kick hit 3 people in the hands and somehow they still recover it. Like that's unacceptable. That can't happen. The sequence before half, I think that there are times where DeBoer is just and Sheridan are just too aggressive, where you just gotta take the time into the clock. But the flip side of that is we look against Wisconsin and they had a 30-second drive down the field for a touchdown, and everyone was like, "Oh, they're geniuses." So, it's one of those things where I think I was much more concerned, but when I got my hands on the All-22, Bama's defense played better than I gave them credit for, but there were sequences. Damani Jackson gets hurt, and then we have 3 true freshman
Yep.
defensive backs in. And they get a 4th and 9 conversion because there's confusion as to whose job is what. And then they have the long touchdown pass. That was Nicholas Harbor.
6'6".
9
10-1.
I think he has a sub 10 because I think he was that close to qualifying for
Dude,
the
how you 6'6" and run a sub
245. Like,
245?
let me check this because he is like genuinely one of the biggest athletic freaks in the nation. He went up and made a play on Damani, and everybody was mad about it. Okay, you were right. It was a 10-1-6.
That's still I mean, 6'5", 6'6", 245.
So
Running the 10-1.
Um,
Come on, man. That's faster than than Brennan Thompson down there at OU. That's faster than
Bond, Ryan Williams.
I mean, I mean, think about that. These are smaller guys. And this dude is 6'6", 245, running the 10-1. That's stupid.
It's ridiculous. And he had a great catch in the end zone. Now, thankfully, Bama has a cornerback that runs a 10-2. And that's Damani Jackson, right?
Damani Jackson
is the only reason anybody was in the vicinity. Thank God for Damani Jackson. No, listen, I don't think things are going perfect, but I'm not panicking because right now it's one of those things where I think Alabama is trying to figure out who are we. And we saw against Georgia, the defense looked very good in the first half, and then they stopped being so aggressive. And I think right now it's just you got to be aggressive. But the thing is I think they're trying to protect a young secondary by not being overly aggressive. So it's a lot of fun though, man. Like I'm not one of those Bama fans that instantly thought that it was going to be the Saban era. I'm one of those Bama fans that think that Bama is still going to be one of the best teams in college football because we hired DeBoer. But like, yeah, there's going to be a feeling out. There's going to be a feeling out. Yeah.
Chris with a K. What's up, my brother?
Man, bro, I'm glad I caught y'all. I thought y'all was off already.
Nah, we weren't off, man. Hey, man, I was waiting for you. I thought we were going to start the show off, just really good, man.
Daddy duty calls, man. Daddy duty calls. Man.
I had to talk about OU with Ty. Like I want to talk with you and Jay.
That's a very educated conversation. You know what I'm saying? Ty Hayes. Matter of fact, Ty Hayes was down there in my neck of the woods. Down there in Broken Bow. I'm from Idabel, Ty. Anytime you
go. Okay. So, all right. I didn't remember you're from Idabel. So we went right through Idabel multiple times.
Yes, Ty. My childhood home is still there and everything. Like I told Nick, anytime y'all two fools come to Oklahoma, you got to check in with the big dog. You don't do that.
Man, we ain't checking in. I'll be down there in a couple weeks. I'm just all burnt orange on.
Bigfoot may not be the only thing that you got to worry about down there. You know I'll
be down there all burnt orange on screaming. What was it, 34-3? I don't even remember the score number. What was it, 34-3?
Before we jump back to this, I do want to say to Steven's comment, Steven.
What did Steven say?
You're right. Tennessee is looked up and down.
Yeah.
But I'm not overlooking them because they are very talented. They are very explosive. They're a good defensive team. Nico, when he's on, is incredible. And this is a rivalry game. There's a reason why I am going to treat this just like I did Oklahoma, Texas. Because in these rivalry games, all conventional wisdom goes out the window. So, yes, Oklahoma hasn't had a good offense. That's still a really good win by Texas because it's a rivalry game. Yeah. And Steven, he's not open all that much because he doesn't know how to run routes, not because of his speed. You put him on go routes, he separates.
That is true. You know what's funny, though, man, is, so talking about rivalries, right? So I got two sister-in-laws that went to Alabama. And they don't look at Auburn as their rival. They look at Tennessee as their rival.
A lot of people do.
I'm just being straight up honest with you. They're like, Auburn's like a little brother. It's not a rivalry if you beat them all the time. You know what I'm saying? And that's how they look at Auburn. They look at Tennessee as their true rival. Tennessee and LSU. And so, it is what it is. So sorry, Auburn fans, if you're in the chat, but these are my sister-in-laws who went to the school, and both my nieces who went to the school too, who have that energy of being on campus 24/7, and they look at Tennessee and the Tigers as their two most rivals, and mainly because just of the winning tradition, right? So yeah.
Bama Tennessee's an older rivalry than Bama Auburn.
It is. But Chris, man, let's talk about Bama, man. What's your thoughts on Bama?
My only thoughts on Bama is that at some point, when things are tough, we got to stop playing so much hero ball, trying to win it back on one possession, trying to win back momentum and all the rest of that. Just play your game. You're more talented. You're the better coach team. It's just sometimes it seems like for about maybe 2 or 3 drives, they forget that they on both sides of the ball, that they can just go out there and physically impose on somebody. That's just my outside perspective. But I mean, I think that at the end of the day, it's one of those things as well where we see this in basketball a lot of times with a lot of really good teams. They play down to their competition. They don't necessarily they play up for the Georgias and all those teams and stuff like that. But when it comes to games like like the Vandy game and all the rest of that stuff, just kind of felt like you're sleepwalking through those games. So I would just say that, the intensity has to be there all 60 minutes, or at least a good 48 minutes or whatever. Yeah. So you have to bring that intensity. But I would say just when times are a little bit tougher, whatnot, stop trying to win so much on the the big play. I know that's what the offense is predicated on, but it seems like, they're out there trying to go for a kill shot when you're just like, hey, we just need to go out there and just run offense and give either the offense or the defense enough time to sit on the sideline and kind of figure some things out, kind of what they want to do for the next drive or whatever the case may be, opposed to just trying to win it with one huge kill shot right then and there. Defensively, I think you're fine defensively. It's just that, kind of that. To me, I just think that, like I told Ty, it's like, you still got the same Maserati. Maybe he doesn't have like the same driver, but you still have that same Maserati that's out there that can go really fast, that can go do all the really cool things that you want it to do. But just got to keep that intensity, man. But outside of that, hey, they're winning, and that's the main.
That's all that matters.
That matters. So they still have everything in front of them. So
thank God Vandy got another win after that, right?
Yeah,
exactly. That would have been horrible. But yeah, man, we talked enough about the Bama game. Look, man, Bama's straight. Bama's going to be fine, folks. I think Alabama fans have to understand this is what life is without the greatest football coach to ever coach college football. There's going to be ups and downs throughout the season, right? And even when Saban was there, there's up and downs. But this is a guy who's getting his footing. He's used to coaching at Washington. Bama's a whole nother monster. It is what it is. It's stepping up into a whole new league. So, look, if you're a Bama fan, if you just started being a fan when Saban got there, there's some humbling pie that's going to happen. A 10-2 season is not a bad season in college football. Right?
I said before the season 9-3 could be a possibility because there's so much transition. You're going from Saban's defense that's pattern matched to vision and break with. So I'm still very happy with what Alabama's
you are a rational fan.
I try to be.
You're a rational fan. My in-laws are not rational. My wife is not rational. You know what I'm saying?
I tried.
They told me last year after Texas beat Bama, it was the worst Bama team they've ever seen in their life. And all Bama went to go do was win the SEC championship game and was one play away from playing a national championship game. So it's not going to be the highs that you've always seen where where Saban had highs where it was he's kicking everybody's ass every week, right? Just not that era anymore. NIL has leveled the playing field out for a bunch of people now. A bunch of people are able to afford players now, legally. And it is really leveled the playing field. That's why every Saturday there's upsets every Saturday. And it's good for college football. It is really good for college football. But next topic, man. Ole Miss, LSU.
And Sam, I think Nick's early staffs were good, but I don't think that the last few staffs
they weren't the best.
Very good.
No.
Like he had Sark, and that was a great offensive hire. I think that some of those staffs, like pieces, were very good.
Yeah.
And some of the early staffs were really good. But you're telling me that Tommy Reese, Bill O'Brien, Pete Golding, no.
4th and Golden. We had to rename him from 3rd and Golden to 4th and Golden, right?
A wide receiver coach who's 12 out of the 13 guys he recruited transferred. An offensive line coach who inherited one of the best offensive lines and then took it to one of the worst.
Yeah.
They weren't that great.
No, it was just Nick. It was you know what I'm saying? It was the top. It was the top that was great. And it was Nick Saban keeping all that together, man. So but yeah, man, let's talk about LSU Ole Miss. LSU Ole Miss, what a hell of a game that was. Ty, we all picked Ole Miss to win that game, right? On the Bleacher Report. I think everybody except Steven. All right. Look, Lane Kiffin, I'm sorry. I have no more confidence in you, Lane Kiffin. I was hoping that you would get your game back in blood. I was like, come on, man. Like, you lost last week. I want you to win this week. I thought Lane had it.
But
I thought he had it.
Here's the thing, and shout out to Steven. He had two.
He had it.
No, I'm not saying he only had 2 exceptional picks. But I'm saying, out of all of his really good picks, I thought 2 of them were exceptional. That was the Wisconsin money line.
Yeah, that was
great
perfect.
Pick. Great pick.
And mine was horrible. The damn Washington. No, it was
brother. I picked
Iowa.
Maryland. I picked Maryland to beat Northwestern and cover the spread, and they got their ass kicked. So nobody's pick was as bad as mine. Rest assured of that.
No. Iowa beat the crap out of Washington, 40-6 or something. It was ridiculous.
Well, but this is what I'm gonna say. You want to know why? At the end of that, Steven was giving us a hard time, Nick, and he was like, y'all have faith in Lane Kiffin. And you and I looked at him, and said, "You have faith in Brian Kelly." I still stand by that. But he was just more correct than we were. So shout out to Steven there.
Shout out to Steven on that one. Lane Kiffin, dude. He doesn't have a signature win yet still. And he's never going to get it, Ty. He's never going to get it. And I'm never going to pick for him in a big game. The games he should win, I'm going to pick him. The games where it's close, I'm never going to pick him. You are behind James Franklin now. At least James Franklin went to USC and they had to pull out all the stuff, but they won the game in overtime. Lane, you had it in overtime in the swamp. This could have been your moment to say, I'm here. I've arrived. And you shit the bed. I don't want to talk about it no more, man. I'm tired of Lane. Chris, what about you, man?
I just can't believe that every time we see, I mean, to be honest with you, that is every time that I see Ole Miss and LSU and they're facing each other, I honestly think, okay, this is like old school Big 12 football, right? Or at least the old school that you and I know, Nick. Because it's a shootout every single freaking game. It's a shootout. And
but this game was actually not that.
It wasn't necessarily shootout, but they still scored a lot of points on each other. And the crazy thing was that I'm not gonna lie, Jackson Dart was moving the ball up and down the field. It was just like, okay, now what, right?
Yeah.
So
Ole Miss's offensive line is, excuse my language, dog shit.
But it just felt like, damn, like, okay, so here's the knockout blow, and they kept hitting, but it was like, you're gassed. And I mean, Brian Kelly, this is what he lives for. Brian Kelly. It's rare these days to see Brian Kelly go out there and just literally blow somebody out. I mean, you may saw that a couple times last year, but in games like this right here, that's what he likes. Get it to the fourth quarter,
get it close, man.
And get it close, and we'll figure out a way to win. And this is what he's been talking about. This is a big win for LSU, honestly, for their season, just because. But with Lane Kiffin, I mean, look, you're two losses, okay. You still have things in front of you that you can go and conquer. You can still make a run, but you got to do it now, or you got to do it next week against my team, I guess, because you got to send a message somewhere. And the whole thing is that for all the hype, everything that we talked about with them, the easy schedule, all the rest of this stuff, you're running out of time. And so for me, that's what kind of makes you wonder, if things in Gainesville get dicey, do you leave and take and make that because that's what it looks like to me. Because if you can't win with this team,
then how's he gonna win in Florida? Look here, I'm not giving Lane a pass because I saw Hugh Freeze win with this team in Ole Miss. I also saw Lane go to Tennessee. Mm-hmm. I also saw Lane go to USC, and he didn't win there. And he got all the resources in USC, all that California talent. The USC at that time was primed and ready to take the Pac-12 back over. And he couldn't do it there. They didn't even let him get in the damn plane. You know what I'm saying? So now you go to Bama, get your rehab on, right? You leave Bama, go to FAU. Was it FAU, right?
FAU. No, FIU. Wait.
No, he went to FAU.
I'm so sorry. I always get
it's one of them. Yeah.
No, it was Florida Atlantic because they came.
I think you're right. I'm wrong.
They were the first game of the Kyler era here in Norman. So they had a couple of dudes from Last Chance U on their team as well.
That's right. They had the quarterback over there. But you go to FAU, then you come up to an Ole Miss, and this right here was the team that you should have that's going to compete.
This is the pinnacle.
This is it.
This was supposed to be the year to at the very least, make a serious playoff run.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. If you look at what you just said, Steven, look, the proof is in the pudding.
Nick, not Steven.
Oh, excuse me. Nick, listen to me. But just understand, as Steven would say, the logic in what you're saying. Okay, Ty, follow me on this. He just said, "Oh, he left here, he left this, he left that, he left that." what does he do best? He leaves, right? He
That's
leaves
true.
when it's
Damn.
bad. He leaves when it's good.
Damn.
And I could definitely see him saying, "Okay, well, this was supposed to be the year. We put a lot into this over these past 2 years, or whatever the case may be. I think I've probably reached my height with Ole Miss. So if Florida comes knocking, that's just me. All speculation, but I'm telling you, don't
So,
count it out."
all right, Ty, go ahead. Ty, go ahead.
Yeah, because I see this. Steven,
I like that.
you're not wrong, right? There's one I'm going to quote Hugh Freeze on this. I forget how many wins he said he should have against Nick Saban. Well, judging by that logic, your ass should be winless against Nick Saban, because the one win you got was the pinball, right? Where the ball bounced off of 8 people's helmets, and then some random Ole Miss wide receiver who is in no man's land picks it out the air and runs it in. But the problem is, Steven, is Lane loses the big games. Hugh loses all the other games.
Yeah.
He got blown out by Memphis. He got blown out by Florida. Hugh, that's a very interesting comparison, though, because
It's
they
almost
are
like they're
close.
backflip. It's almost
That's exactly where I was going. That's why I love
reverse.
this comment from Steven, right? Like, they're very interesting in how close they are. One of them will win a bigger game, but lose all the other games. The other one will win all the games he's supposed to, but can't get that big win. This is a fascinating comment. Yeah, Steven, you're 100% right, man. I love this comment. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
said
is.
it best. And I have a question for y'all.
That's a good comment. Oh wow.
So Florida is better than Ole Miss historically in terms of brand, right?
Yes.
Like, even if there's the most diehard Ole Miss fan on here, I say this with all due respect to Ole Miss. There's no arguing this.
No.
Right. That being said, is it a better job right now? Let me explain. Right now, Florida's AD, I'm not in on him. Florida currently has a lawsuit pending about their usage of NIL. Is it a better job than Ole Miss right now? Ole Miss opened up the checkbook and told Lane to go get what he wants. Florida's getting sued by Jaden Rashada because they told him they were going to pay him this much and then backed out of it.
But Ty, this is my only, so this is my counter to that. Lane's learned from the best when it comes to NIL, right? Sark's learned from the best too. Saban's the best at this when it comes to. Look, I don't want to sound bad when I say this, but Saban is the best when it comes to acquiring players. I think we can all say that. They learn from the best. If Lane is at Florida, that doesn't happen. I don't think it happens.
Billy learned from the best too.
But not.
I think it's an administration problem.
Yeah, but
I'm not comparing the two by any stretch.
I think that look, as my friend Ty Hayes would say, two truths can exist at the same time.
I do say that.
I think both of you guys are hitting are basically hitting your stride with what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
But like I said, throw out the recency bias. Okay. Florida is still a better job. And Florida is in a hotbed.
Oh yes, it's in a hotbed of recruiting.
Yes,
so,
2 for 2, I do agree there. I just don't know.
It would be mad ignorant for Lane Kiffin not to go to Florida, knowing that one, you have DJ Lagway there, and two, you're probably going to have a lot of players that follow you from
Mississippi.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
And that first year bump in recruiting is essential, and it is a real thing. He goes to Florida. The actual mojo in Florida is going to be totally increased. Florida kids are going to want to stay in Florida because it's going to be the hot new school to go to because they're bringing in Lane Kiffin's offense.
There are two moves. There are two moves in college football after the season are over with. There are two moves that could potentially happen in Florida that could change the landscape of college football recruiting.
No, so it's only one because Florida State can't afford to fire Norvell.
if Deion want to go down there, and if Lane
would you take Deion?
the chokehold they would put on Florida would be insane. I'm telling you. Not that kids would not still leak out. We know that they would, but the chokehold those two could potentially put down there would be insane.
Do you think Deion goes to Florida State? This is a whole man. This opens up a whole different can of worms. This isn't even on the subject.
I know it's not on the subject.
You guys know how we do.
This is what we do.
We barbershop talk this.
What he and Lane Kiffin are in the same boat as when I listen to just what I just said. Okay,
but does Florida won't? I mean, but
I know I get what you're saying, but listen,
Florida State won't Deion.
Those two have reached the height, the pinnacle of what they're going to reach this year. However they finish.
That's true.
They've reached the height. Deion is losing his sons,
and
Travis.
Beat me to it.
So what the hell are we? Yeah, what are we talking about?
I don't look here, man. Look here. I know this is an SEC podcast, but look here. I don't see Deion, at Colorado after this year. That's just my opinion. Look, Sanders, whatever they want to say about Shedeur Sanders, he's a baller. I don't care.
Beast.
I don't care what anybody says. The NFL looks at guys like that and says that he plays under so much damn stress and duress every freaking play.
Yeah.
Like he makes plays when he's under pressure. Like imagine what he could do in a clean pocket. Mm-hmm. Right. So the NFL raves over this guy. It's a fact, right? I know people don't want to hear that. It's a fact. They rave over him. And Deion understands good coaches. I ain't gonna say good coaches. Good people that understand the business know when it's time to leave. They know when it's time to leave.
But
he gone. He gone, in my opinion.
Let me make one last point. Okay, I know we're going off road real quick. Let me make one last point. Don't forget that 2 years before he had those 2 good years, right?
Yeah.
Like Norvell, they were terrible years, right? There were 2 terrible inaugural years, right? Florida State fans wanted him gone after year 2. He got year 3. He looked like he got it right. They were going places. Year 4, they go undefeated. This year, what do? No, I'm telling you, you can't sit there and say, okay, well, 2 out of the 5 years you've been here, you've done really well. Now it's up to Florida State what they want to do, because I'm sure that he did sign like some crazy extension.
It's an 8-year extension.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's an 8-year extension, man. I mean,
I don't.
This is the first year of the extension.
We talk about that, and that's a real thing. I'm just saying
this is the first year of the extension, so he has 7 more years in the contract. Do you think Florida State eats that?
How much?
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do either.
And it's $10 million a season, man.
I think they better.
I think they better, but it's 70.
I agree with you.
Ty would have to tell me, because I'm not. Florida State obviously has money.
70 million.
I don't think that they have 70 million like that.
70 million.
Yeah, they're not, but they should.
A&M with all the oil money had to wait for it to come down to 70 million to pay off Jimbo. I mean, I want you to think about that for a minute. We're talking about oil money school in A&M. Revenues out the always top 3 in the country.
Yeah.
They should, but they won't, because he knows 100% right.
They're making this $55 million buyout at a poor school. Yeah, I get that. I'm just saying, don't just think about it. I'm telling y'all now, if those two moves happen, that would be insane.
Our future said it best. Deion is leaving coaching unless he goes to the NFL. I can see him going to the NFL team. I don't see him going back to college. This whole developing players thing, he doesn't believe in it. He thinks he can build a team out of the portal every year. It's not sustainable. I don't think it's sustainable. Like, you got to develop players. At some point, you got to be like a Sark or Kalen DeBoer, or you got to develop players.
I don't think that would be a problem for him. I think that you still have to, at the end of the day, he's at Colorado. He's going to a team that was 1-11 before he got there. He's going to a school. Nobody wants to go and play in the cold weather.
That is true.
Yes, it's the hip thing. It's the best thing, and all the rest of it. They're
playing really damn good football.
They're playing good football, but take take Shedeur Sanders off that team, and how good is that football
Oh,
team?
100%. 100%. Take Travis Hunter off that team
Yeah.
with Shedeur, and it's not.
It might be 2-10 next year.
Yeah, no, I
4
100%
and
agree
8.
there.
Like, I think they're going to do something special this year. What are they, 4-2 right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they
And
can go
2 decent
8-1.
losses. I mean, like,
Yeah, I mean, 2 good I want to say good losses.
quality in terms of losses, they're
quality losses.
The buyout is what got me, because Deion still has a buyout as well, because he still they booby trapped his contract on the way out.
Yeah, but how much is Deion getting paid? Like $5 a year?
Like, I think somebody would have to come and pay like maybe $3 or $5 million just to like
nothing.
basically
That's nothing for a school to come get him. But like you say, $55 million buyout at a poor school. Okay, Norvell has a $55 million at a poor school. It ain't happening. I wouldn't say Florida State's poor, but Matt, I think it's more than $55 million, man. I think his contract is fully guaranteed.
Mm.
Yeah, he has Sexton as his agent, right, Ty?
Yep, and if he has Sexton, you already know he's going to get that money. Sexton, listen, if Florida State wants to be mad at anybody, you want me to peel the layer
be
back?
Mad at Nick Saban for retiring.
Well,
that
no,
gave
no,
everybody raises.
Be mad at Sexton.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you the God's honest truth. Norvell never got a call. Norvell was never called by Bama. Bama's plane was in Seattle the day Nick Saban retired.
Yeah.
But Norvell tells everybody, I'm not leaving, in his best Leo impersonation, and gets a bag because Sexton and them said, oh, Bama reached out. If I was Florida State's administration, I'd be like, show me the contract that they sent you. Until then, it's moot. Bama never reached out.
Yeah.
They had a very short list of coaches that they wanted or thought would take the job. And Norvell was not it.
Yeah.
Thank God. Because whenever those rumors were coming around, I actually was getting scared. I was like, please, Lord in heaven, do not let this happen. I do not want Mike Norvell, please.
Yeah, Mike Norvell, he's
JB's 100% right. Jimmy Sexton, because isn't he Sark's?
Yes, he's everybody's.
Sark, Dan Lanning,
he's
like
all the Kirby too, right?
Kirby, I think Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, look, man. I looked at all the top contracts here for the coaches, right? And so Sexton has it's something like 9 out of the top 10. Like he has 9 of the top 10. He's not Dabo's, is he? I think Dabo's the only one he's not.
I don't believe he is Dabo's.
But he has Kirby, who's the top. Dabo's number 2. Then he has Sark, Dan Lanning, Kalen DeBoer, Mike Norvell. It's like a who's who of coaches, man. Who's who of coaches. He has them all.
And H Post, to clarify, I don't know if Bama was considering, but what I was, from everything I know, from everything like people that have, that are pretty in tuned, from what I've been able to gather, he wasn't contacted in terms of like, do you want the job? They made a push at Kalen DeBoer. And there's a reason, like, what's a shorter flight, from Tuscaloosa to Tallahassee or Tuscaloosa to Seattle? The plane was in Seattle that night.
Yeah.
They were after DeBoer.
I don't blame him. Great pickup.
Oh, I love it. I don't care.
Come on, Frightening Truth. Sark is the 3rd highest paid coach in college football. He's making over $10 million a year.
Yeah, Sark is getting paid ridiculous.
He's the 3rd highest. Yeah, it's Kirby's number 1, Dabo's number 2, and then it's Sark. So, yeah, he's making some shmoney.
Yeah, Sark just restructured his contract when Saban retired.
Exactly. Saban got everybody paid.
Yeah.
Saban got everybody paid. So, yeah, man. Yeah, Sark got him a private jet.
Well, because Texas knew, right?
Yeah.
Like Texas knew, like, oh, this is a guy that Bama will call. Like,
Yeah.
if they don't, if it lasts, Bama will come a knocking. This past year before Bama made their hire, Truth, Texas ponied up ungodly amounts of money in terms of being, and DeBoer's making $10 million a year as well. But
yeah,
Texas, they knew, like, He has
Don't.
ties to Alabama. And I'm not saying Sark would have left. I've always said Sark is building at Texas. Texas is treating him very well right now. Build your own thing, right? Like, and I love what he's doing over there. So I'm not even saying this to say that Sark would have came, but Texas was very smart to be like, well, let's go
Yeah.
ahead and pony
Lock
up
'em up.
before this gets to
Holy shit! Oh,
what
What's
happened.
that?
oh, nothing.
Oh, I thought something.
My bad, dog.
you can't be saying that, dog. Me and Ty, like, what happened?
Oh, my
Yeah, I thought some breaking news.
It's just the SEC Connect. We can't be breaking news like that, Chris. You got
to. Sun came out my side. Oh, shit.
Yeah, man. But look, man, Saban retired and he got everybody paid. Sark got paid. Kalen got paid. Norvell got paid. Jimbo got fired. He's still getting paid. That ain't got nothing to do with Saban, but he's just still getting paid. I had to put it in there. Yeah, man. It is what it is. Last topic, man. Tennessee. Should fans of Tennessee be worried about what they saw this weekend with Tennessee versus Florida?
Ty, what you know what it was? What I always say? Blueprint games. I mean, I think we gave everybody the blueprint, man. It's the offense is not necessarily that complicated to stop. I do think Nico is a good quarterback, but I think that something's up over there. I see that they do have like some key injuries or whatever that are starting to kind of pile up as well. But I don't know, man. I it's tough. It's tough. But that game was at home, right?
Yeah, it was at home. And they stormed the damn field.
That was a surprising part of it. But man, I think people are just basically making them. They're taking away the explosive plays, which I think that you can do. I think that you could do that. You could take away the explosive plays and make them really work the field, which they're not wanting to do that to get up and down the field. But offensively, you have to connect. And regardless of what we think about him, or excuse me, what Steven thinks about him, there are certain times where Graham Mertz does step up to the plate, and he's
not a bad quarterback.
He's a really good game manager. To be honest,
he's not a bad quarterback. He's just not special.
He's Alex.
No, he's not the reason.
NFL talent. He's Alex Smith without the NFL talent. To be honest,
he's not a bad quarterback. He's actually a good quarterback. He's just not a special quarterback.
No,
you know what I'm saying. And Lagway has the potential to be a special quarterback.
And I'm sorry, but let's just be honest with you. I give them 3 games out of each year simply because Billy has really kind of disappointed me with his time there at Florida. But Billy Napier, there's about 3 games, maybe about 3.5 games out of the year where he will come in and surprise you. Maybe not win the game, but he will make it extremely competitive. And you'll see like, oh my God, they're flashing. This is it. This is really good football. This is good Florida football. And then, the end result. But yeah, I think it's more the game I left the bar that I was at thinking to myself, like, okay, that game has more to do. I was actually out there at the Star, and I just kept thinking, I was like, damn. I was like, that game has more to do with Tennessee than anything. I was like, I don't necessarily know what's going on with them, but they need to go and break down these last 3 games, that film, and just see what our defense is doing to us. Because to me, it has not looked anything. It has not looked different each week. It's really been the same game plan.
You know what's crazy about this though, man? Florida might not be a bad team, guys. And hear me out when I say this. I say they might not be a bad team. I want you to look at the teams that beat them.
I don't think they're bad. I just don't think they're great.
Yeah, you got Miami, top 10 team in the country. Texas A&M, they're 4-1 or 5-1 right now, looking really good. They got beat by Tennessee. It's a top 10 team in the country. I mean, they've gotten beaten by 3 top 10 teams in the country, because A&M's what, number 10 now, number 11, somewhere around there?
Right? Like they're a good team, though. Like, point very well taken.
And they're going to have a dogfight this weekend against Kentucky. Okay? And they might win against Kentucky. But then they got a backdoor with Georgia, Florida, LSU, and Ole Miss, right?
And I don't know that they win against Kentucky.
No Diddy. Oh,
So it's I feel bad for Billy in this instance is that he does have a tough schedule. He's playing these teams pretty tough. I mean, like even like I would say minus like the Miami game, but every other game he's played pretty tough, man. It's just that he doesn't have the dogs on that team yet. He just doesn't. And I'm not making excuses for him. It's year 3 for him. Those guys that he recruited in year 1 should be, stepping up the plate to be those guys now. But losing to Jalen Rashada hurt, right? It hurt. Losing other players in the portal too as well. Losing recruits because they didn't start off good because they do have tough schedules. It hurts. And so it's almost like he can't even sell the program. So I feel bad for him in that sense because his team is playing their asses off. However, you got to get wins where wins come, and that was a game that it was there for the taking. He had just a chance to win the game, but he didn't do it. But getting to Tennessee, I don't think they're in trouble. Tennessee has a quarterback who's in his second year, and like I told you guys before, I think Nico is up for the challenge to start this year and win games. But just like I told Chris about Jackson Arnold, these guys, I thought Jackson needed 2 years from the bench, and then he's going to come out third year and be special. Nico has the potential to be special this year, but 2 years from the bench would have done him just fine too. And he'd have been absolutely lethal next year. Almost like with Arch Manning. Arch Manning, you get to see glimpses of him where you're like, oh my God, he looks good. But we don't need him right now, right? And so next year, he's going to be really damn good. He would have made a bunch of mistakes this year because it's been his first time playing since high school. And I think it's the same thing with Nico. You got to ride the ups and the downs for him in his first, like true year starting. So I don't think they're in trouble. I think they'll figure it out. Heupel's a good coach, especially for the offensive side of the ball. Nico's a damn good quarterback. They will figure it out, but they will lose some games. I see them as like a 9-3 team. Ty, how about you, man?
I agree. I think that it's just you got a young quarterback operating this veer and shoot. And I think Nick posted a comment in the chat that was very good that I very much well loved. The veer and shoot when it's working is one of the toughest things to stop because you're put on your heels and they're like, I have you exactly where I want you. And now my entire offensive playbook is open and I am going to just kill you. If it's not working and you're not converting and you're off the field quick, you get out of sync, right? And it's very much a momentum-based offense, I feel like, at least. So I love that comment, Nick. I think you're 100% right. I think that in this game, and I know some people will laugh at me, but scheme is scheme. I love that Bama faced USF early in the year, the Golesh veer and shoot, because it is Heupel's veer and shoot. Yep. It is the exact same system. And the reason why I'm happy they faced them, even though Tennessee's a much better team, please do not mistake me for saying they're peers. I'm not. Bama's got a lot of young DBs. Like, this Bama team is pretty darn young. You lost 2 first-round caliber defensive backs. I'm still pissed off that Kool-Aid didn't go in the first, but I'll never get over that. But you get my point, right? Like, you lost 2 guys that were top 60 draft picks at cornerback. You got a lot of the times 1 to 2 true freshmen starting at the cornerback position. You got a true freshman starting at one of the safety positions at Husky. Young team. And they got some experience against a veer and shoot. And then against Vandy, right? Vandy's not veer and shoot. Vandy's just one of those option teams that can be tough to defend if you don't prepare adequately. And I don't know that Alabama prepared adequately. I think Alabama thought that they could out-talent them. Then they got in the game and they were like, oh shit, we didn't prepare for this. So I think this is going to be a fight. I think Alabama can pull out the win, but I definitely think this is going to be a fight. It's a rivalry game. We know what that means. Wonky things happen. It's in Neyland.
It's in Neyland too. That's gonna be crazy. Because Bama and Tennessee hate each other. It's long rivalries here. They hate each other. But honestly, though, Todd, the teams match up wonderfully. This is gonna be an exciting game.
I think it's gonna be great. Yeah.
the teams match up great. I think Tennessee has the potential to go deep on Bama in this game. They're going to score some points, but Bama's going to do the same thing. Like Bama's going to score some points on Tennessee. Tennessee's defensive line is outstanding. They probably got the best lineman in the country. He's probably going to be a top 5 or top 10 pick in the draft this year. He is hella good in that defensive line. But I think Miros he's so much of an X factor, man. You can't account for his
he's
wheels.
the X factor in the SEC.
Yeah, man. You just can't account for his wheels, man. So I think Tennessee's gonna score some points. I think Bama's gonna score some points. It's gonna be a hell of a game, man. I don't know who I'm picking in this game. I'm probably gonna pick Bama in this game, to be honest with you. I just got a lot of faith in Milroe.
Because James Pierce is phenomenal, but Bama just got great experience with 2 great pass rushers. And H posts, I kind of disagree. Milroe's had 1 bad game this year. I don't think he's been streaky this year. They don't, like, Bama gets up and then they don't throw the ball a whole lot. But the best, right, like whenever they did throw the ball, he has been killing teams short, intermediate, deep. South Carolina, though, like, that was his worst game this year. But I don't consider 1 bad game streaky. He's been phenomenal this year.
Yeah. He's been good. Very interesting, man. Where did Chris go?
I don't know.
Oh, he's putting the private chat. He said he'll be right back. Yeah, man. Interesting game this week, man. But look, it's almost it's already past 9:00. I was gonna talk some OU with Chris, but since she left, man, I don't know if I can talk OU with her, man. I ain't talked OU with nobody from OU yet. I ain't talked with Jay. I ain't talked with Chris. I ain't talked with Seth.
Well, let's talk about it before we get out of here.
I know.
Let's give him a good 5-minute conversation, because I'm not gonna lie, I think OU might struggle with South Carolina. I think that those edges are gonna eat that OU offensive line alive.
I think OU might go 5-7 this year. I hate to say it. I mean, I can see it happening. And I had them going 8-4 this year. I think 9-3 this year. But that was all anticipating that. Oh, here he is. Here's Chris. Chris, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, bro. I heard y'all.
Yeah, man. So we're talking about OU.
I heard y'all, man.
OU, man. What's up with your boys, man?
Man, look. I mean, what can I say, man? It's bad play calling. Really wasting away this defense. I mean, you go out there and really run a complicated ass game. I was there. I kept looking at the offense like, man, y'all got to do something, man. Like, look, I mean, quarter and a half, like, hey, we're doing what we need to do on the other side of the ball. Y'all got to help them out. This game here definitely is a bounce back game. Got to have this game. It's not going to be promised. I'm not going to lie. You got to make sure they don't try to make any plays down the field. That would be kind of the X factor for South Carolina. I do think that Bernard and I hopefully I'm saying his last name right, Bernard, but I think the Edwards kid as well. Yeah, they're going to cause some havoc. They're going to wreck some stuff, but I think there'll be opportunities there. But this is kind of put up or shut up. I mean, I think a lot of us have silently been begging for some type of change on the offensive side of the ball, meaning whether that's, maybe a job getting lost or somebody losing play calling duties or whatever the case may be, kind of a change. I mean, at the end of the day, we can sit here and talk about the injuries and all the rest of that stuff, but y'all know me, I'm not going to sit here and make that excuse. I'd rather go out and die trying, right? But you got talent out there. You got guys out there, but your reluctance to throw the ball down the field. I mean, seriously, I kept saying it on my pod this Sunday. Your offense looks like an East Coast, West Coast battle. I mean, there's nothing going up north. I mean, everything is just really East or West.
East Coast, West.
You're not doing anything like that. So you got to actually try to test or whatnot. But hey, we're at home. It's another game. We're 4-2. We take our L's. We took an L on Saturday, but I think this would be a game. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. I do think that we win this game. I don't think that we get down or whatever the case may be, because regardless, I know our offense, we have issues or whatnot, but I don't necessarily see us having trouble with just trying to control Sellers. I think that hopefully BV and Allie don't come out there trying to run that 3-man front the entire game, because that got us in trouble a little bit. Guys trying to make up plays or whatnot, trying to win it back, kind of play hero ball or whatnot. Kind of saw that during the Texas game in that late in that second half. Can't lose the turnover battle or whatnot, but just got to control that run game. Got to make Sellers one dimensional, make him a passer, turn him into a passer, and then make sure that Rocket Sanders doesn't get off as well. I think you do those two things, you could probably have a slugfest. I'll be honest with you. I think the first team that cracks 14 points.
I was going to say 17.
Yeah. I think the first team that cracks 14, 17 points
wins the game.
Could go ahead and win the game. But I think that you're back at home, backs against the wall. I like OU whenever this is happening. I already know. I heard what Ty was saying and everything, stuff like that. Don't necessarily disagree. They have one of the better defensive lines in the SEC in the country. Those kids are playing out their mind. And so they've done it against really good competition and really good O-line. So why can't they do it against OUs? But, Nick, I think where we got disconnected on Steven's pod last week was that, look, I get it. I know you want us to be realistic and this and that, but hey, what did Metro say? Pick a side. I'm always going to ride with my boy. You're not going to ever say I'm too competitive to get on here.
I just said keep it real. I just said keep it real.
And I am keeping it real, man. I'm going to go down. If the ship's going to go down, I'm going to be on that thing.
Hey, look, I think OU and South Carolina are mirror images of each other. I think they the only difference I think is South Carolina has a real running game.
Yeah.
Like they got
their
a
running back's no joke.
Yeah.
Rocket Sanders when healthy.
I think quarterback plays better.
Yeah. And so I think the teams are mirror images of each other. They really can't pass the ball down the field well.
I wouldn't say that, Nick. I would disagree. I don't know if I think Hawkins can throw the ball down the field. We just don't have any plays doing that.
I mean, I just haven't seen it though. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. We haven't seen it.
I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not going to put the trust in the fresh. I mean, he's a freshman. I'm not going to say the freshman's going to be.
I think South Carolina has an advantage at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I do too.
Experienced guy who's been making plays.
So but honestly, I think both teams are, when they see each other, they're just mirror images. Great defensive lines. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be interesting, man. I can't wait to pick this game because I don't know who I'm going to pick, because usually OU after a loss is pretty reliable. You know what I'm saying, to come get that dub. But it's going to be interesting because you got a freshman quarterback. Freshman quarterbacks are hard to gauge.
And Jenna has a great comment. You got to wrap up. If you want to know the difference in what would have been a Bama blowout versus what happened, Bama did not tackle well at all. LT Overton had 9 pressures. Do you know LT Overton is like top 5 in the nation in quarterback pressures with 1 sack? Yeah. Like at a certain point, you got to convert close to finishing. And if Alabama would have converted half of close to finishing, that game is over and done with. But credit to South Carolina because they are a scrappy bunch.
They're scrappy. Good defense and good running. You got a 6 foot, 235 pound, 240 pound running back. And then you got Sellers, man, who, he can run the ball too. He's second in the team in run. He's 6'4", 245 as well. You know what I'm saying? So you got a 2-headed monster running the ball, and it's a different kind of running game than what Bama has with Milroe, with him being, just very explosive. Sellers is just going to put his helmet down and run you over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
My question is does he even finish the game? He's definitely injury prone.
I mean, he finished against Bama.
I see
and
that.
And then they got Robbie Ashford behind him.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And Robbie Ashford's third on the team in rushing. I'm seeing the stats now. So
if Robbie Ashford comes out there, I think I like our chances, guys.
I don't disagree with you there.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you there.
It's going to be interesting, man. I think both teams look at each other and see themselves in each other.
I don't think we see ourselves in them. At the end of the day, I do think that Sellers is probably the better quarterback right now, but I don't think he's the more talented quarterback. I think that he is. You can turn him into a one-dimensional quarterback. He doesn't want to sit back there and throw it the whole time. They have those design runs and different things like that. I don't know what happened at Bama. I can't really speak for Bama, but I feel good playing at home against them. We
didn't tackle well. If you tackle, like, yeah. I'm telling you, man, that was you. And I don't mean to play revisionist history or make an excuse, right? Because yeah. I do want, before I say this, all credit to South Carolina.
Yeah, they play well. Play well.
Bama also did not tackle well. And
I mean, that's something that we have to do as well. We had to tackle better, but we had to tackle. But I mean, hey, I just, I don't know.
But this is my thing about South Carolina.
We don't have the same issues. I mean, that's the whole thing. I don't know really what their issue is. Sometimes they just get really stagnant on offense. I don't know. Play calling has it like I was trying to vouch for Latrell for the longest. I think you guys both could say that. I was trying to vouch for him for the longest, but after Saturday, kind of like shit. I don't know really what you're doing anymore, man.
I told you when Seth Latrell got hired, I wasn't enthused with it.
I was happy about it, just kind of going back over the tape, like really breaking it down. I made a couple of videos just really breaking down what his offense is, and I still have yet to really see Seth Latrell's, hey, I want to get down the field. I want to go north and south. I want to be physical. I still have yet to see that. Regardless of the injuries or whatever, you're decimated. Like I told people, I think if just from an OU fan standpoint, and I don't think this has been said enough. I don't think it's been said at all. I think the biggest problem that you have with Seth Latrell is that, hey, look, I get the injuries. You're down some of your top O linemen. Some of your top O linemen are back, but they're still nicked up. You're down your best wide receivers. Your quarterback play hasn't been great. But the fact of the matter is you still got a lot of highly touted guys out there. And the fact that you can't even go and just run simple offense, giving him simple reads, simple offense to run with those guys that can go and make plays. You've seen them make plays. That's the most frustrating part, that you can't even really just break your defense, your offense down just to the nuts and bolts and just run simple offense. That's been the most frustrating part, that you're having to chip away at different things, because you can't necessarily blame the players all that much now going into the second half of the season, simply because it just makes no sense not to. Because, it doesn't make any sense to do that simply because your play caller can't call an adequate enough defense, or it's just a simple offense, to be able to move the ball. That's the most frustrating part, because you still have talent out there on the field. So you can miss me with all the excuses for the, injuries and all the rest of that stuff. I get that. That's just a part of football, and that it sucks that happened this year and we're not fully healthy. But at the same time, like I said, I don't see them saying, oh yeah, we see ourselves in them. South Carolina just gets into that point of the game every single game. It happens every single game. They do good for about 4 or 5 drives, and then after that, it's just complete shit the rest of the way. Offensively for us, we've just been complete shit. Like we don't move the ball. We refuse, even if it's a loaded box, we refuse to let's try to test this secondary or whatnot, even though you have some guys who can do that and you've seen flashes of it, but you just haven't seen the consistency. So that's just kind of my thing. But I like I said, I do think that whoever scores 14 points first could.
I'm gonna give him 17. First and 17. But hey, folks, Ty got to hop off. He has another show to go to. But Chris, you know what I'm saying? I can stay on what you want to talk.
Oh no, you good, bro.
Oh, you gonna leave me?
Yeah, man.
Oh my God, Ty, you see this? I can't even get the OU guy to come to OU
championship with North Texas, baby.
Ty, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Ty, you hear this shit?
He don't want no smoke.
Ty, I can't find Jay this week. I can't find Seth this week. and Chris hopped on 30 minutes late. I see how it is.
Hey man,
I see how it is.
hey man, I gave you the satisfaction. Your fans been going in on me all night, anyways, man. It is what it is. Y'all already know. Boomer
You
Thunder,
guys,
baby.
boy, I tell you, y'all see how them OU guys get the A
Hey,
guys.
no, hey, I've been gracious with it. I've been gracious with it.
No, hey, y'all. All them OU folks was front runners. When it's time to, when the game's over and it's time to come talk and sit
What you
right
want
there in
to
that
talk
chair.
about? What you, Ty? Go ahead. What you want to talk about? You already know where we're going.
All right, Ty, we see you, man.
Later,
I
y'all.
made my points.
Nah, man. Hey, look, man, it ain't the same without Seth and Steven, though. We gotta have the full crew.
Well, I ain't said nothing, man.
We gotta have the full crew.
I
We might
let
even invite
had
Jay
a
to
little
it.
fun tonight, man. I'm not gonna be like your partner last year who was upset.
Who?
Steven. Steven was bad last year, boy.
He was. I don't know why.
We got Steven on the wrong day, boy. Steven was pissed last year. When
I do remember that. He got short with everybody. But look, I'm gonna say something about Sellers though.
Yeah.
Sellers can pass the ball, man. He's not horrible at it.
I mean, I'm not saying that he can't, but I'm saying I welcome that. I don't want him to get loose and feel good because we know he would like to run the ball as well. That's like second nature to him. That's what I'm saying. Take that away from him, which I think that you will. I'd like to see even fronts instead of odd fronts this weekend, and I think you'll be fine.
It's gonna be interesting, man.
I
tell you what, though, you guys
gotta have this game. You gotta be 5-2 going into that week with Ole Miss and try to make that a toss.
And try to make it a toss-up game. It's gonna be interesting. But I tell you what, I'm glad Quinn played this week. You know, he's a little rusty this week. I'm glad he played. You know what I'm saying? Get that rust out the system before you go to Georgia. You know what I'm saying? You know, y'all play good though. You know what I'm saying? Defense, all right.
You sitting there just saying like shit. Like hey man, like Quinn want to give you the game right now. Like when you get that interception and you move the ball, because at one point we were getting all the first downs, but when you only move the ball 10 yards and you can't move it anymore, I'm like Latrell, I don't know, man. Like that sprint draw, when I saw that sprint draw run, I was just like, in my mind, back of my mind, I was like,
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
When I saw Texas line up earlier, they had no fear in their eyes. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't think they had no fear that they were going to even think about losing this game. Even after the interception, you can tell Quinn was like, all right, I'm kind of rusty. And then after that, it was pound. I mean, it just was what it was. I was surprised. This is me, honestly. I was surprised at the running game. I was surprised.
No, I wasn't,
how effective we ran the ball.
The 3-man front, and then guys started getting antsy trying to make plays, and they overran it. And that was actually with kind of that second level. So that was kind of the problem. The thing for me that was crazy is that, I mean, outside of that fumble touchdown, you're down 14-3, 7-3, 14-3 with a few minutes left in the second quarter. That last like 4 minutes of the second quarter is what changed the game. That's what really lost the game. Because I mean, I'll man up and say it. I mean, what Steven said last week was correct. Like, hey, if we get up by if y'all get up by 14 points, like that's a wrap. And so that was what killed us. You had back-to-back fumbles on back-to-back drives.
But it was the same thing last year for you guys.
No, but I mean, you're sitting there just saying like, y'all are killing yourselves. Y'all can't move the ball because y'all are moving the ball, but one, Hawkins was not seeing the field. There were times where there were a couple of guys that were open, running across the field. Sawchuck's open over there, not only in the flat, but he'll up the field. Not a guy 5 yards around him. And then, just like I said, you got into this whole Biggie and Tupac, let's go back and forth with it. You know what I'm saying? We going East Coast, we going West Coast. What about the North? We don't know anything about the North. I think Drake up there, so we don't want to go up there, right? So it was just this whole thing of just like, dude, I don't even know what the hell we running anymore. Like when I saw the sprint draw run, I was like, all right, go ahead. Somebody wave the white flag. Because I was like, I hate that. Ty knows I hate that fucking play. Excuse my language. I hate that fucking play with a passion. you can't run that play. It's not because Hawkins is a true freshman. Hawkins' footwork sometimes can be a tad bit sloppy, right? When he
But that's
when
because he
he
is a
drops
freshman. He has to be developed.
when he drops back, sometimes is a little bit deeper than what it would normally be, right? I know it may be rust, whatever you want to say. Regardless, he's already running out of the damn play. Now you basically saying, okay, well, they recognize the play now. So now here comes Anthony Hill from this side. He can juke one guy, make a miss, but then here comes the next guy. You get what I'm saying? You had successful things, but running Javante Barnes on stretch plays, that made no fucking sense at all. Like,
Y'all's running game, I'm gonna be honest with you, and it's not your running backs. I think you guys are talented in running back. It's the offensive line. And
bro,
that shocked me because I'm a fan of Beatonbow. I
it
just thought
was it. There were holes and there were times where you're just sitting there looking at Hawkins like, dude, just you could literally run. There's nobody within 10 yards of you. Run. There were a couple of holes with like Javante Barnes. There was one where he ended up getting like 4 or 5 yards, but you're sitting there saying you either get probably 10 to 15 yards if you actually hit that hole instead of hesitating, or you probably going for a touchdown because nobody in sight over there if they have the speed and they're getting over there. But you're just sitting there saying to yourself, like, we're using the wrong guys and like wrong packages. The split back package, which I love. I'm a huge fan of that. That just has been obsolete. I just like there's no more excuses that I think that you can make for Seth Luttrell this year. Um,
I told
um,
you I wasn't a fan of him.
no,
I told you.
as much as I love BV and I still believe in
I mean,
BV,
I was glad you guys hired him. I told you I wasn't a fan of him, so
I
I was
just
glad you guys hired
I
him.
just don't know. Like this Latrell and Joe John Finley, not that's got to go. That shit is ass. Like it's bad because it's too stagnant. I mean that's the whole thing. I think that you would have been okay with somebody who would just at least wanted to run competent offense, man.
Yeah. I tell you what, too, though, and I'm not going to put it all on Seth. I'm gonna be honest with you. Um, Quinn doesn't have that rust in the first quarter. I mean, if he just steps into a throw, he had Bond wide open for a touchdown. I
He
mean,
had Bun wide open in that middle, but at the same
it
time,
was that was a touchdown. He just lays it out where he's supposed to lay
hey,
it out. He threw off his back foot for no reason. Nobody around him. He just threw off his back foot. We're like,
if
come on.
what you call it goes out there and he actually puts some touch on the pass instead of throwing it 5 yards in front of old boy. What was his name? Hester. I mean, that was the only time that you try to test that secondary.
Yeah,
That's a touchdown. That just
yeah,
comes with time, more repetition.
yeah. So I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like,
There were opportunities in that game. OU was getting 3 and outs and all the rest of that stuff to start the game, but you knew, hey man, at some point this defense is going to get antsy. They're going to try some different things. Stuff is going to happen. That DeAndre Moore catch, I kind of thought that. I looked at, I was like, he looked out of bounds from the angle they showed inside the field. I don't know
nah,
what they're showing.
no. But like on TV, he had green in between his foot and the sideline.
On
You know
the
what I'm saying?
angle inside the stadium wasn't good then
Yeah,
because the angle inside, most people like a lot of it was even Texas fans that was around us that
yeah.
were like,
But on
hey,
TV, yeah, on TV, like once you're at home watching it when they had the better camera angles, it was,
yeah.
like
My
definitely a clear
uncle's
catch.
like, "Damn, see, this is why I want to be at home, man, so I can see the angle."
Yeah, yeah, you know what I'm
It
saying?
looked
You gotta
like
see the perfect angle. But
the
I was
angle that they showed, like, yeah, it was there. But yeah,
but I tell you what, I was just I'm a big fan of Trey Wisner, and I just didn't know Trey was gonna go off like that. To be honest with you, 13 carries for 118 yards. But
Mhm.
I mean, they just Texas offensive line is really good. It is really good. As good as Oklahoma's defensive line is, I think Texas offensive line was just better that game. Texas offensive line literally we got two guys that are supposed to go in the first round this year, our tackles. Campbell, I hope he stays. I hope he stays for another year. If Campbell leaves, then we're looking at replacing pretty much the
I
entire
think
offensive line.
I think especially for that right there, it wasn't necessarily surprising for me. Like I said, man, I said it on my pod, man. I wasn't really mad at the loss, to be honest with you. It wasn't as if it was expected or anything like that. Wasn't necessarily mad at it simply because I just knew kind of what we were up against, the odds or whatever. But I left that game just really thinking mostly about OU, not necessarily anything against Texas. Texas did what they needed to do, but I just thought that on the defensive side of the ball, my only main bad takeaway from that side of the ball was just, hey, I think that BV and Allie were a little bit too gun ho about that 3-man front, trying to run that. I get that they were trying to just account for any big plays and try to make sure there was no bust in coverage and stuff like that. And I mean, hell, Sark was like, okay, y'all want to do that? Okay, well, I'm gonna send a guy up the middle every freaking play, and I'm gonna make y'all. I'm gonna see what y'all gonna do, but not getting down that 3-man front early.
Yeah.
That was the thing. I mean, y'all have a good offensive line, so offensive line is gonna be able to take care of that with more guys than this. Our three guys were holding and doing what they needed to do, but it just no. After a while, I knew that wasn't going to work because I don't necessarily like that 3-man front. That's been something that BV has been trying to really be able to get into and run. And at times, don't get me wrong, it looks really good and it was working early on. Just after a while, I think you got to still mix that up because I think you could have played straight up a little bit that game, at least in those heated moments, which was really kind of that first quarter and a half of that game. But now offensively, man, you got to figure it out to be able to salvage this season and still go kind of to some places that you want to go. But what's his name? Latrell just, I mean, I've tried to make every excuse for him coming into the season, bro. I was really, really excited about his offense because I just thought it made more sense. And the thing I was really, really excited about with Latrell was the fact that I thought that he would be a better game manager than Levy. Levy lost a couple of games last year simply because those 2 games that we lost last year to Kansas and O State. I mean, hell, we get key interceptions with 4 minutes on the clock. You know what I'm saying? And you go out there and 50-second drive, 50-second 3 and outs, and you're out. So I thought, okay, he'll be a better game manager. He's been a head coach. He understands, the ebb and flow of the game and all the rest of that stuff. Been totally wrong about him. So that's something I'll definitely admit.
So, so one other thing, like prior to us getting off here, does BV have his players? So does OU have the players that they need to run BV's system?
Yeah.
Okay. That's why okay. It's just we'll see the rest of the season. It's gonna be interesting because you guys got.
I don't question anything on the defensive side of the ball, man. I mean, you can't. I don't really know. There's not all that much to really take away. I mean, he has the guys. Does he have maybe like the Brian Breeses and stuff like that? Probably not yet, but I think that's coming with David Stone and all the rest of those guys, those young guys, Jaden Jackson. He has the guys to run his defense. I think we flipped the script if we actually had our offense, if we were actually
healthy. Yeah, your offense, yeah.
Yeah, if we're actually healthy or whatever. You and I both know, anybody that's actually been an athlete or whatnot, they know you feed off that other side. You know what I'm saying?
Like they need some help. But also,
because if you're not going to play complimentary football, your defense is going to be out there on the field and all the rest of that stuff. Things are bound to break. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't really get into that bend and break kind of defense that changes your game plan because you're trying to put players in position to go and maybe take some chances to try to get back into the game and get the ball back to your offense, who's obviously reeling. You know what I'm saying? So when you can't play complimentary football, and that's what you guys beat us at. Yeah, I mean that's just
well, yeah.
Played
I'm gonna tell you something too.
Fundamentally sound.
It was fundamentally sound. It was not a clean game by no. I mean, I think anybody who watched that game knew it was. To be honest with you, this is my opinion on it. I don't think Quinn's all the way healthy. I don't. Because when he started running the ball, you saw he was kind of running like a little ginger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't think Quinn was healthy. I don't. I think this is me talking, not knowing anybody or hearing it from anybody. I think Sark knows his best chance to beat Georgia at home is with Quinn.
Yeah.
I think he understands, too, to get these jitterbugs out of the system before Georgia, he needs to play against OU. Just get it out. He needs live reps. Get him live reps for a complete game, and then we got Georgia next. So we'll live and die with the lumps that like actually come with this game, and I think that's what he did because Quinn was not 100% Quinn on Saturday. Anybody that watched that game saw he was off. He was off. I mean, he had Bond streaking wide open for a touchdown. He overthrew 3 balls in the first 5 ball, like balls he threw. It was not a clean game by Quinn. He got it better towards the end, but I think this week coming up, he always plays big in big games. That's just what Quinn does. So it's going to be interesting. It's South Carolina game is going to be interesting because I don't know who I'm picking, but y'all's offense just really scares me.
You know who you picking, Nick. Nick.
No, I'm serious.
Nick, you're a good man. You're a good man, Nick. Don't play with me like that, Nick.
What? I don't know who I'm picking yet.
Hey, my uncle thought we was beefing. He said, Nick kind of came at you sideways. Look like y'all beefing now.
No. But look, I don't know who I'm picking. I'm serious because I don't. After a loss, OU usually great to swing it back. I don't trust the offense yet. That's the only thing that is holding me back from saying OU's going to win this game.
Shit, what I'm saying, shit. Join the club, Nick. We all trying to figure it out.
I just don't.
I don't even think, like, I know the Texas fans going in. I know when we do our atonement episode, they're going to go in as well. I don't think Texas fans understand. Right now, we don't give a shit about you. We try to
you guys are trying to win.
Trying
to figure out what the hell is going on. And my only thing is, I saw South Carolina really contain Jalen Milroe.
Yeah.
They did a damn good job of him. He's probably the most electric player in the SEC, right? Especially at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Michael Hawkins is nowhere near Jalen Milroe.
You got to throw the ball.
But Milroe throws the ball. He throws the ball well.
You got to be able to throw the ball. You got to be
able to Trail is not Kalen DeBoer. That's it. Now, can South Carolina duplicate the defensive effort that they had against Bama? That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can because they had great matchups this year against Kentucky. They beat the crap out of Kentucky. Mm-hmm. Close game against LSU. I think LSU has a better offense than OU does. Ole Miss put it on them, but then they should have won the game against Alabama. I'm be honest with you. Missed field goals. They had what was it? 2 missed field goals.
I'll just say this. Like I said, I'm not speaking about any other team or any of that stuff like that. And you getting on here saying, does BB have his? Yes, he has, bro. This defense is legit. I think our defense. Comes out there, puts it on them. I think that we get turnovers. I think we win a turnover battle because there will be opportunities. And I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's either Rocket Sanders or Lenoris Sellers, whichever one you want to pick. One of them is not going to finish this game, and that's not me wishing ill will on them. I just don't think. I think one of them is going to get popped and probably not going to be an X factor in this game.
It's going to be interesting because I think
the thing about if Robbie Ashford comes out there, I mean, let's be real.
It's a wrap. He's him and Hawkins are comparable players.
Right now, at this point,
yes, I'm saying they're comparable players. So then it's literally a even versus even fight. I think Sellers is just a little bit better than Hawkins right now, but I think you guys right now, as far as the defense side of the ball, defense is good. But I think that defense is really going to get tested from not this game, but the next game on.
Oh yeah, the next couple of games, they're going to be wanting to pass. They're going to do all the rest of this stuff. But like I said, look.
Oh shit, y'all got us.
Like I said, defensively, Nick, I think defensively you'll be okay. But
it's the offense. Yeah, it's the offense. It's all the offense.
You got to give them something to believe in.
It's all the offense. But hey, tell me this right here.
That Tennessee game, that's one of them games that pisses me off. Like I said, anybody in here who has a competitive ounce of blood in their veins, anybody that's ever played football, basketball, or whatever, especially if you've been really good at it, you definitely understand. When Kip Lewis is coming off the field and is in Jackson Arnold's ear screaming, talking about, hey, let's go do this. Let's do this. All right. We got the ball back for you. Let's go do this. I'm amped the freak up. I'm turned up. I'm about to go out here. I'm putting 30 on somebody. You go out there and you doing that. You putting your body on the line. You putting yourself through the mud to get that ball back we about to go out here. Let's do this. And then you go and turn it back over. Like,
you what though?
It's one of those things where and everybody's saying it. It's not like it's hard to not hard to find somebody saying it. It's crazy because you're wasting a championship level defense And that has not always been the case in OU, at least not for the last
Well,
decade.
it's
You
hard
really
to get it good on both ends. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just hard to get on good on both ends unless you have an outstanding coaching staff.
But not
BB's
only
hella good
but
on
not
defense. He just
competent.
didn't hire the right offensive guy.
No.
That's just not it. It's just it. He didn't hire the right. And let's keep it real. He mismanaged his quarterback role in the offseason. He
Now,
did.
you know what? I'm not even gonna sit here and argue with you on that because that's actually a valid point. That
Yeah,
it could be
because
valid.
there's no reason for you to have a defense that well, that's
Mhm.
that good, and then you put your hands in a true sophomore, and his true backup is a true freshman that is not a highly touted true freshman. He's a guy that needs to be developed, right? And so that's I know like OU fans are getting mad at me, and I'm saying like JA needs another year. Like imagine DG with this defense. It's a whole different season. It's a whole different season. You know what I'm saying? And then Jackson Arnold comes in next year and starts. Right?
DG be out there calling plays himself because Seth Luttrell is not gonna call.
But that's my point. You need.
I'm over here now. I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm already doing my whole what's the top 25 offenses. What's the top 25? What's the top 25 offensive coordinators out there? I'm already looking, man, because I'm like this can't happen, man. Yeah. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. I know we lose Billy. I know we lose
Jackson.
No, I'm talking about I know we lose on defense. I know we lose Billy.
Bowman,
and I know that we lose Stutz. But I don't necessarily think there's going to be a huge drop off next year.
That's the same thing that remember I was telling you in your truck this year when we were driving down Oklahoma City. You're talking about you losing Sway, you losing Murphy. I said, yeah, but I think our defense is going to be faster. Mm-hmm. It might not be as good in the line, but I think we're improved everywhere else.
Yeah. But
everywhere else we're improving. I think that might be y'all situation.
Because collectively, I mean, what Boganowski, Hardy, they're all getting time. I think Powers is going to be good, but also, I mean, Stoney, all of them. I think you probably get Dominique Williams again next year, and then Kip Lewis, Kobe, Lewis Carter, Deshaun McCullough, Sammy O. Probably get Dolby back as well at that cheetah position. I mean, you're going to be really good at defense again. Offensively, you got to figure something out because you can't have all that talent with the number of guys we can name that can potentially come back from that top 5 wide receiver core and just these other guys as well, the freshmen that you're going to have and the incoming freshmen and all those guys. You're going to have a really good team next year as well, but you got to be able to play complementary football. So you got to get your OC.
That line got to get fixed too, man.
Oh yeah,
that's the one thing that line got to get. Everything works better when the offensive line is better.
I'm kind of like you and Steven. a couple of years ago, early on with Sark and all of that. I think you kind of. I'll be honest with you. EPL, a lot of these highly touted offensive linemen that you have on campus right now, they need to start seeing time. I do believe that. You got guys over there that are healthy and that can move and probably give you some juice. I think you got a couple of guys over there that could really like do patchwork. Because Tarquin, I think Brady Trantham. Shout out to my guy Brady Trantham through the Keyhole podcast, as he said it. This was one year that you can truly say in the portal you missed. You went and got G5 All-Stars as opposed to just getting.
Can't do that in this. No.
You want to, instead of getting legitimate offensive linemen. Hopefully this is real enough for you. Me being very transparent right now. I know this is probably music to your ears, Nick, but I'm just telling you. Like, I see the problems, I see the holes or whatever. But like I said, if it's a Titanic, I'm gonna ship with that bitch. I'm gonna say with it.
I feel you. But man, it's almost 9:45. I gotta get up out of here, man. But look, folks, tune in next week. SEC Connect. You'll see us on here every Wednesday. And hey, man, go to Chris's podcast. I ain't gonna say the name, but look, it is what it is. The Horns, what else? Podcast. Check my channel too, Nino's Corner, Sports Podcast, and Bleacher Report on Friday and Saturday after the Texas-Georgia game. After Texas gets that dub, I'll be on Bleacher Report talking about it. So tune in there too, man. Helps out a lot. But we out, man. It's 9:45. Deuces. Peace. Horns always up. Chris on black, so you can't see him. Deuces. Horns.